This is the moment we've waited for all our lives. Oh yeah, the lights are shining and we dance all night to the best song ever.
Look at this, keep singing.
The arena lights glowed like distant stars, but behind the curtain, the world felt dim and heavy. Two Filipino siblings stood together in the narrow backstage hallway, their hands trembling from a mixture of fear and hope. They had dreamed of this moment for years, yet standing this close to it made their hearts race in ways they never expected. The older sibling, gentle but determined, carried the weight of responsibility on their shoulders. Every challenge, every sacrifice, every quiet night spent practicing under a flickering bulb, it all lived inside their eyes. The younger one, quieter and softer, leaned into the comfort of their presence, drawing strength from a bond shaped by years of shared struggle. The hum of the arena seeped through the walls, distant yet powerful. Thousands of strangers were waiting. The judges were waiting. The world, unknowingly, was waiting. But none of them could see the real journey hidden behind these two young performers. No one knew the storms they had walked through just to stand here. Outside, the stage shimmered under the warm glow of spotlights. Backstage, memories flickered like old film. The siblings remembered the cramped room where they first learned to harmonize. They remembered skipping meals so they could save enough for a bus ride to the next singing competition. They remembered their mother's tired smile, the one that always appeared even when life gave her nothing to smile about. Every step of their past seemed to echo through the hallway. The sound of their own breathing was steady but fragile. This moment was bigger than a performance. It was a doorway, one they had been knocking on for years without knowing if anyone would ever hear them. Finally, their names were called. A soft wave of cold air swept through the curtain as it lifted. Together, they stepped forward. Not as contestants, but as two souls carrying a lifetime of quiet resilience. Their unseen journey was now heading into the brightest light day. The stage stretched wide before them, glowing beneath a crown of white lights. As the siblings stepped into that brightness, it felt as if the entire world faded into silence. For a brief moment, they could only hear the soft beating of their own hearts, steady but trembling, echoing across the vast space around them. The audience watched with quiet curiosity. Thousands of eyes followed their every move, wondering who these two young performers from a distant place might be. The judges waited with polite stillness, their expressions unreadable. Everything felt fragile, like one wrong breath could shatter the moment. Then came the music, soft, slow, almost like a whisper beginning to bloom. The siblings exchanged a small, silent understanding before releasing the first note. And instantly, something changed. The older sibling's voice stepped forward first, warm yet aching, carrying a depth shaped by years of hidden struggle. It drifted into the hall like a thin ribbon of light. The younger sibling followed with a harmony so gentle and pure it felt almost unreal, like the sound of hope waking up after a long sleep. The arena stilled. Even the air felt frozen. People leaned closer without realizing it. The judge's eyes narrowed, not in judgment, but in a stunned curiosity. The siblings' voices blended in a way that didn't simply sound beautiful, it felt like a story. A quiet confession. A journey shared without words. Each note seemed to rise from somewhere deep within them, a place made of sacrifices they never spoke about. Their harmonies wrapped around the arena like a soft embrace, reaching strangers who had never seen them before yet suddenly felt connected to them. The siblings stood small under the lights, but their voices filled every corner of the space with a tenderness that demanded attention. And with every passing second, the arena shifted from curious to captivated. The first note that left their lips did something rare. It made the world stop, just to listen. The song carried on, rising gently like a small flame trying to warm a cold room. Each harmony felt deeper than the one before, and slowly, something subtle began to stir at the judges' table. It started in the eyes of the man who was known around the world for his sharpness, his high standards, and his unshakable seriousness, Simon. At first, he listened like he always did, arms crossed, expression guarded. But as the siblings' voices intertwined with growing emotion, his posture loosened in a way almost no one caught. His eyes lifted slightly, focusing with a new sense of attention. There was something in the siblings' tone, something raw and unpolished, yet impossibly sincere. The harmonies rose again, blending into a soft ache that traveled through every row of the arena. Simon leaned forward, just a little, as if the sound pulled him closer without asking permission. The world knew him as a man hard to impress, but something about this performance was cutting through the layers he kept tightly sealed. The siblings, unaware of his gaze, continued to sing with everything they had. Each note carried memories they never explained, long nights of practicing in small corners, mornings filled with worry, and moments when music was the only thing that made them feel safe. Their voices did not ask for sympathy. They simply told the truth of where they had come from. Simon recognized that truth. It reflected in the quiet shift of his expression. His eyes softened, not out of pity, but out of respect. He felt the kind of connection that didn't happen often, the kind that reminded him why he loved music in the first place. The audience felt it too. Something electric, yet gentle, began to grow in the air. Hope, wonder, disbelief, they all merged into a shared feeling that no one could explain. The siblings reached a higher note, trembling but strong. And in that moment, Simon's eyes widened, not with judgment, but with realization. He had just witnessed something rare. Something unforgettable. Something that was about to change the night forever. The siblings reached the heart of their performance, the moment where every emotion they carried finally rose to the surface. Their voices lifted higher, trembling not from fear but from the overwhelming weight of everything they had poured into this one chance. The arena felt breathless, as if every soul inside was holding on to the same invisible thread of emotion. The lights softened around them, highlighting the quiet vulnerability in their faces. Their harmonies grew stronger, swirling together with a purity that struck the audience like a wave. It wasn't just singing anymore, it was release. It was truth. It was the sound of two hearts trying to rise above every hardship life had placed before them. Simon watched with a stillness that didn't belong to him. His hands, usually steady and firm, lowered from the judge's desk as something inside him shifted. The siblings reached another powerful note, fragile yet unstoppable, and that was when it happened. Simon stood. The movement was sudden, startling the crowd. His chair scraped back with a sharp echo, breaking the delicate silence of the arena. People turned their heads in disbelief. The siblings continued to sing, unaware of the storm building behind them. Their voices kept flowing, soft but unbreakable. Then, with a force that carried all the emotion he felt but never spoke, Simon pressed the golden buzzer. A single, brilliant flash exploded from the judge's table. The arena erupted into sound, gasps, cheers, applause shaking the entire space, but the siblings could hear none of it. Gold confetti burst from above while they were still mid-note, raining down around them like pieces of a miracle. They pressed forward instinctively, their voices trembling as they tried to keep singing through the overwhelming shock. The moment felt unreal. Gold sparkled in the air, sticking to their clothes, touching their skin like a blessing they had never dared to imagine. The weight of their journey collided with the sudden brightness around them, turning the stage into a world they barely recognized. The golden buzzer didn't wait for their final note. It answered the truth in their voices the moment it heard it. The arena erupted into sound, gasps, cheers, applause shaking the entire space, but the siblings could hear none of it. Gold confetti burst from above while they were still mid-note, raining down around them like pieces of a miracle. They pressed forward instinctively, their voices trembling as they tried to keep singing through the overwhelming shock. The moment felt unreal. Gold sparkled in the air, sticking to their clothes, touching their skin like a blessing they had never dared to imagine. The weight of their journey collided with the sudden brightness around them, turning the stage into a world they barely recognized. The golden buzzer didn't wait for their final note. It answered the truth in their voices the moment it heard it.